And as I mentioned last week, the Inca Empire was held together by a vast network of roads, similar to the Roman Empire. You can't have an empire unless you have communication systems. So the empire is about 2,500 miles in length from north to south, all the way from up in Colombia, all the way down to the middle of Chile. And they had roadways, footpaths, but cobbled for a lot of it, from one end to the other. And they had two main highways, one up in the Andes, one down the coast, with kind of ladder-like connecting systems between them. And for communication, they had these specialists called chasquis, which were people are specialized, native tribes specialized in running as fast as they could. It was kind of like a relay running. And they would carry messages in their pouch on these quipu cords, which was how the Incas codified their information. And they would run as fast as they could along a portion of the Andes there, and they would approach a small a roadway station, and there'd be another runner waiting there, and they'd run. The second runner would start running as fast as they could, and the next runner would pass on that pouch of information, and they would that was how they ran the fastest relay they could. And they could reach one end of the empire, like 2,500 miles in a week or so, and they could reach down like in a place like on the coast in less than a day through the system. So they had a very good information network. Information was super important. In roughly early 1500s, there was an emperor there called Huayna Capac, and he'd conquered this whole area down to the south. And when he was down there, after he conquered, he got word from his chasqui runner that there was a rebellion up in the north. So he got on his litter, and they carried him 2,000 some miles up to the north so he could put down that rebellion. And this is a hanging Inca bridge. Some of them are still extant. They're famous for that. They would bridge the chasms with that, but they would travel this way. So this fellow traveled 2,000 miles to find out what the rebellion was all about. And while he was there putting down the rebellion, a chasqui runner showed up one day and said, on the coast up in what's now northern Peru, something very strange had been seen. There was a really big couple ships and very strange people on the ships. They had like white, light colored skin, and they had sticks that blew out fire and smoke, and they weren't very friendly. And what should they do? And that was referring to the very first voyage of Francisco Pizarro. And his very first, Pizarro did 3 trips to Peru. The very first one was exploratory, and they stopped there for a little bit and saw their first vestige of on the second one, actually, the second voyage, saw the first inkling that there was an empire there. And so they were wearing armor, and they had some horses, and nobody had ever seen anything like that. So Huayna Capac, the emperor, had to decide what was this all about and what should he do.